AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Mio and Mr. Toby Tom play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Terrio in 1 hour from right now, the final Saints preseason game. We got SEC schedule stuff to talk about. I get to crap on the Saints even more. Stick around. We're glad you're here. It's AFR. Let's begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
I got to crap on the Saints, but I'm probably going to wait about 12 minutes to do that. I'm really, really not happy about something today. Like, really not happy.
And it involves the Saints. Get out of here.
I mean, I've been very... Well, hold on. Muse, what has been the thing I've consistently said this entire offseason about this Saints season? That I'm what? I'm not going to what?
You're not going to freak out about the season. You're not going to explode over the season.
Very level head. I have expectations, right? I don't think they're going to be good.
Let's say low ones, yes.
I'm not going to yell over losses.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in seeing
development, some things for the future,
all the things.
Yes.
Yeah. I am really not happy about something today.
Okay.
I mean,
deep breaths. Yeah, yeah. Come on. In and out.
We may light the fuse here in a minute.
Okay. Are you going to turn the color of your shirt again?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, it would be darker than...
Darker, yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay, we'll get to that. Paul, when he's talking, put him on the camera, please. All right. I'm not going to start there, though. Start with SEC scheduling stuff because OTB, the guys, had Herb Vincent on this morning, Hester and Flynn. Herb Vincent, if you don't know, Oh, did we do Let Us Begin As We Do Everything? Did we hit it? We did it. We did. Sorry. Okay, we did. We did the Bud Light Open. That shows you where my brain is. Different spot altogether. So Herb Vincent, LSU alum, longtime LSU sports information czar, now works for the SEC office, was on OTB today. As we know, on Thursday, the league did formally announce they're going to a 9-game schedule in football starting in 2026. 6 rotating opponents, 3 permanent opponents. The big question is for everybody is determining the three permanents. Herb talked about that process of selecting the 3 permanents.
Some of it has to do with rivalries, and part of this structure, which is 3 annual opponents, 6 rotating opponents, was to maintain some of those traditional rivalries. I think people know who those rivalries are. Then there's, you have schedule balance as much as you can. You don't want to load up one team with too many difficult annual rivals. There's geography involved. I think there's a number of different things, and so that'll play out as we go through it. And certainly there's discussions with the schools as well.
Don't miss that. he said there will be historic rivalries. We know which ones those are. And also there will be things that play out as we move forward in conversations with the schools, and you don't want to load up one team's schedule. Now, remember, a couple of years ago when the league was discussing moving to 9 games, one of the things that they looked at was, and Greg Sankey said this on the record, you kind of split the league in half. And they took like a 2-decade average of record and did like the top half of the league and the bottom half of the league. And what they were going to do was, if you were in the top half, 2 of your permanents would be against the top half and 1 against the bottom. And then if you were in the bottom half, 2 of your permanents would be against the bottom and 1 against the top. So, for example, Alabama, it's been great for 2 decades. They would play 2 permanents in the top half and 1 in the bottom. Vanderbilt's been really bad. They'd play 2 in the bottom half, 1 in the top. Does that make sense? I think I explained that pretty well. Well, Herb Vincent said those discussions from a couple of years ago may not actually factor in. I'm going to explain why in a second, but here was Herb.
After the announcement yesterday, everybody's guessing who's it going to be. It's going to be the same as the ones that were announced in 2022. Well, there never were any announced in 2022. There was some discussion internally about who it might be, and that discussion kind of took off, and a lot of people guessed at what they were. And so you can search the internet and find all kinds of people who reported different scenarios, but none of that holds right now. And so that'll be a big announcement when we have it, obviously, because the anticipation is already building.
Okay. He's saying all of that from 2022 wouldn't hold. Now, there's one team in particular that I know when we have the conversations about this team, everyone always has their own feelings. And I understand. I don't believe the SEC necessarily gives Alabama a giant break. I know everyone's going to roll their eyes at that. And yes, I'm the Bama's burning guy. I love their misfortune, absolutely. But I don't think the league goes in saying, how can we do favors for Alabama? But Alabama is the single biggest challenge to this entire schedule. Let me explain why. We all know the Iron Bowl is going to happen every year, right? It's arguably the best rivalry in college football. There's Army-Navy, there's the Iron Bowl, there's Texas A&M. I mean, it's a short list, right? Whatever that list is, it's a Texas, Oklahoma. It's a short list, but Alabama, Auburn's on it. That game's going to happen. Well, Bama, Tennessee, the third Saturday in October is something they also want to have happen. So, too, is LSU, Alabama, because for the last 2 decades, that has been the most lucrative individual property the league has had television-wise. Yet in certain years, like last year, Bama, Georgia, Georgia, Texas were better games than anything LSU played a year ago. But over an average, over 2 decades, Bama, LSU has been the premier game in the league on average. So they don't want to lose a premier television property. But are you really going to saddle Bama with Auburn, LSU, and Tennessee? Now, 2 years ago, the explanation was that Tennessee was in the bottom half of the league. And they were. The end of Philip Fulmer was not good. You had the Derek Dooley years. You had the Jeremy Pruitt time. It wasn't good. Now, of late, Josh Heupel had the great Hendon Hooker year. They were in the playoff a year ago. So Tennessee is on the come. And historically, they're a great program. But if you're looking at a smaller, more recent sample, Tennessee isn't in the top half of the league. So, are you really going to saddle Alabama with those 3? And if not, we know, because you're going to start with this. Start with this. We know Alabama is going to play, start with everything you know. Get the grid, the 16 teams, who are the ones that are absolutely going to play? Well, Alabama and Auburn are going to play. Auburn is going to play Bama and Georgia. 100% that's happening. Florida's going to play Georgia. Georgia's going to play Florida and Auburn. Kentucky doesn't have any certainty. LSU doesn't have any certainty. Mississippi State's going to play Ole Miss. Missouri doesn't have anybody. Oklahoma's going to play Texas. Ole Miss is going to play Mississippi State. South Carolina doesn't have anybody. Tennessee's going to play Alabama, and Vanderbilt. Texas A&M's going to play Texas. Texas is going to play A&M, Oklahoma. Vanderbilt's going to play Tennessee. Those are certainties. Like, all of those are happening. Everything else is up in the air. So the question really, the first thing they have to answer is, does Alabama play Auburn, Tennessee, LSU, or does Alabama, Tennessee, or Alabama, Auburn go away? Alabama, LSU. And do you get them a third game like their former permanent when you had the two permanents? They played Tennessee on the other side and Vanderbilt. So what do you do? Like, they have to answer that question first. Are you going to saddle Alabama with Auburn, Tennessee, LSU? Or does Tennessee or LSU go away? And if Alabama, LSU goes away on an annual basis, then who slides in that spot? Probably Vanderbilt. And then what does that mean for LSU? Now, my contention is LSU almost certainly will play Texas A&M and one of the Mississippi schools. That's what I think is a certainty. The third is a big question. Is it Alabama? Is it Oklahoma? I don't think you can play Arkansas if you're going to play one of the Mississippi schools as well. So I know there's this ambiguity in the question of what's going to happen there, but none of these questions can be answered until they first answer. Like, you can't start to feel like you're going to get the grid, the 16-team grid, all who's going to play who, and you're going to fill out the certainties, right? What are the certainties? We just went through those. And then you start to fill in subsequent. Well, you can't do that until you decide, is Alabama, Tennessee happening every year? And if it is, that probably means Alabama, LSU is not happening every year. And if that's the case, how do you fill it in after that? That is the first thing that's got to be answered by the league before they can fill in the rest of the schedule. You know, I'm huge on schedule because it's not only who you play, but when and where you play them. So if LSU isn't playing, I know we had fun yesterday, and I mean, I'm serious. Like, give me Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Mississippi State. I know that's not realistic, but in a 9-game league schedule where you also have to play a Power 4 non-conference opponent, you're going to have tons of really tough games. I don't need to voluntarily make it tougher, but I also realistically understand LSU's not getting Vandy, Kentucky, and Mississippi State. Almost certainly, they will have one of the Mississippi schools and Texas A&M, and then the question is Alabama the other one? Is it Oklahoma? Does one of the Mississippi, does Oklahoma drop and Bama replaces something along those lines? That's going to be the real fascinating, but none of that can be known until the league decides first what they're going to do about Alabama, Tennessee, LSU, either or both. And we'll find out in, I would assume, relatively short order because the schedule release is always in December when they have the schedule release show. So, got some tough decisions to make. All right, it's After Further Review. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the Tigers. If you're watching us here in studio, we got the 3 aluminum bottles right here in honor of LSU's great home tradition of the white jerseys in Tiger Stadium. It's a white Bud Light can and aluminum bottle available at great local retailers. You're going to be watching Week 0 this weekend. You're going to be heading out to Clemson next Saturday. Make sure you stock up with plenty of the Bud Light LSU officially licensed bottles and cans before you hit the road to Clemson and every home tailgate this year. Bud Light, drink easy with the great taste of the Tigers. All right, it's After Further Review. I'll yell about the Saints next. Stay here.
After Further Review.
Watermark and Renaissance. 2 amazing hotel properties, Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown. The Watermark celebrating their centennial this year. 100 years, not the hotel, but the building itself. The original Louisiana National Bank downtown on 3rd Street. They've now converted it to the Watermark Hotel, Watermark Baton Rouge. It's gorgeous. You walk in, you see that marble staircase, which goes into the basement. That's where the old bank vaults were. They've hollowed out those bank vaults and converted them into private meeting rooms. You could have private dining events down there as well. What an awesome, truly unique setting in Baton Rouge. You got to check out Watermark Baton Rouge if you haven't done so yet. So much of the original artwork in that building. It is incredible to behold if you've never been inside. Go have a cocktail after work. Have a glass of wine. Have dinner at the Gregory. Maybe have a Sunday brunch right there in the lobby, all the beautiful natural light. Or got people coming in for football Saturdays. Make sure they stay at Watermark Baton Rouge.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
I know we put out on the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge social medias yesterday a graphic asking which three SEC opponents would you want to be LSU's permanents. And, man, the responses were robust, to say the very least. I'm looking at this one on Twitter. It's got 225 replies. Ole Miss, Arkansas, Bama. A&M, Ole Miss, Bama. Just go down the list. Vandy State, Kentucky. Shout out to Joel. You agree with me. Bama, Arkansas, Florida. Vandy, Arkansas, Kentucky. Ole Miss, Florida, A&M State. Vandy, Kentucky, Missouri. Bama, Florida, Arkansas. Vandy State. Point is, I only rattled that through just to point out, there's not a consensus. And it only further illustrates for LSU fans, there is no consensus. For some people, each game means more. For the two guys that are on this station in the morning, Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn, they played in an era where the LSU-Florida game has never meant more. So to those two guys, that game means so much. For me, someone who grew up watching LSU in the 80s and the 90s, I've told you before, I love the Auburn game. When I was coming into my own as an LSU fan, it was earthquake game, interception game, bring back the magic in 95, the barn burner in 96, Cecil Collins in 97. We can go on down the list of all those amazing games. Of course, the cigar game in 99, cigar game in 99, the 0-1 game, which is one of my favorite games in the history of Tiger Stadium, when LSU won the game that was postponed from 9/11. It was my first year. I was a sophomore in college, my first year at LSU, and we all stormed the field, and it was incredible. Just amazing. All the games, throughout that series, that's my favorite. In the last 15 years, obviously the LSU-Alabama game has taken on a different meaning. If you grew up in the 50s and the 60s, it's probably Ole Miss. There is no consensus answer for LSU, so it's hard to make that determining factor. The only thing I want to see is equity. I just want to see everyone have an equitable schedule. That's it. I just want it to be even. I don't want to see anybody having a decidedly easier path than anyone else in the league. That's all I want. However you play it, I'll put it to you this way. We had a conversation internally with our staff about Auburn, Georgia, the Deep South's oldest rivalry. And my point, I've said repeatedly, I don't give a rip about that game. If that game's never played again, I will not lose a wink of sleep. Don't care. Not a lick. Let me phrase it to you this way. What are you more interested in watching this year? Auburn, Georgia, or Georgia, Texas? Muse, I gave you an option. You can watch one of those this year. You get to watch the Deep South's oldest rivalry or Texas at Georgia. You can only watch one this year. Which one you watching?
That's tough.
No, it's not.
I'm going to go with Georgia and Texas.
Yeah, right? Paulie? You can only watch one, the pageantry of the Deep South's oldest rivalry, because back in 1880-something they were playing like anybody gives a ish, or Georgia, Texas.
I'm picking Georgia, Texas.
Yeah, you don't say, right? That's my point. You have a 16-team league. There's going to be great games every week, every season. Yes, rivalries are part of what make college football. I get that. But outside of the teams that play them and the fan bases that care so deeply, most just want to see great football. Competitive games with something on the line. LSU doesn't have that. It's never had that. With one opponent every year where it matters, throw out the record books. LSU just doesn't have that. So we collectively, as a fan base, approach this whole conversation differently than most teams in the league. Ole Miss and State have each other. Alabama and Auburn have each other. Georgia, Auburn, Georgia, Florida, they have each other. Texas A&M have each other. Texas, Oklahoma have each other. LSU doesn't have it. It doesn't exist. There's games we care about, but none to that degree. So all I care about is equitable scheduling. I just want to see everybody have an equal path through the league, however it looks. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. We're brought to you by Supper Club. They'll be open here in about 90 minutes from right now. Weekend is upon us. Get on by Supper Club, supperclubbtr.com for your reservation, supperclubbtr.com. My hat is off to Chef Layton over at Supper Club, the whole crew. They've done an incredible job of curating maybe the best whiskey selection in town. They've got all of the Pappies. They've got all of the E.H. Taylors. They got the full Weller Vertical. They've got all of the mash bill 2s. If you're a whiskey nerd like me and you understand what I'm saying, you know the language I'm speaking right now. Even incredible things like Last Drop, which is a special release from Buffalo Trace. The youngest of that blended whiskey is 27 years old. There's only 508 bottles in the world. Once it's gone forever. And one of them is at Supper Club. And a lot of people are just going to stash those bottles and save them for years and then sell them and flip them later. At Supper Club, they're like, no, we're opening it. And we're giving our guests an opportunity to enjoy it. You want to have the best experience of your life? Go to Supper Club. SupperClubBTR.com. SupperClubBTR.com. That's Supper Club right there on Perkins Road in Baton Rouge. All right, the time is here. Muse, do we have the AC down in here? Like, do we have the temperature at a reasonable rate?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. If you want to go knock it, because I'm probably...
You're going to start sweating, aren't you?
I don't mean to. I don't come in here. It does. I don't ever come. Look, do I have a note in here that says, look at what I have in front of me. Do I have anything in here that says yell loud right now? Scone's going to rant and yell?
No. I don't. Mm-mm.
I got my rundown here. I got my live reads here.
Yeah.
I got my audio sheet here. I got a pen. Got my bottle of Evermore.
An essential.
Bud Light.
Another
bottles. Essential. I got my laptop here. I just know when I start talking about this, how this is going to go. So, yesterday, we talked about the Devon Vele trade. Saints made a trade with Denver to acquire Devon Vele, who is a 6'5" receiver who I'm good with. Like, you don't have a big-bodied receiver. So, you got a bunch of dudes that are 5'10", 5'11". You went and got a 6'5" receiver. You gave up this year's 4th-round pick and next year's 7th-round pick to get Devon Vele. 27 years old, just finished his first, going into his second year in the league from Utah. So he's a LDS, went on his LDS mission. So he's a 27-year-old second-year player. And totally good with the player. 41 catches a year ago, big-bodied receiver, still a young professional, was on his rookie deal, all that I'm good with. And you gave up a 4 and a 7 for him. And, I look and I go, yeah, look, a lot of the Saints 4s over the year, they use the 4th-round pick a lot as trade bait. They really only make a 4th-round pick like every other year. And when they have made it, there's an awful lot of like Rick Leonard and Kyrie Fort in there, Ian Book. They've popped a Jermon Bushrod and a Chauncey Gardner-Johnson about like once a decade. I'm excited about this year's 4th-rounders, Danny Stutzman and Quincy Riley. But for the most part, that's been, at best, a coin flip proposition with your 4th-round pick. So you got a guy that's already a proven NFL player, a bit okay. And then I looked at what happened today. You're all familiar with Brian Robinson, yes? Brian Robinson, running back from Alabama, drafted by the 49ers. Drafted by the Commanders. Very scary situation that shortly after being drafted, he was shot, overcame that to be ready to play his rookie season in Washington. And in 3 years in Washington, he's played in 41 games. He's rushed for over 2,300 yards. As a rookie, he ran for 797, then 733. Last year, 799. He's been an incredibly consistent running back in the NFL. And today, the Washington Commanders traded Brian Robinson, who's entering the final year of his rookie contract. They traded Brian Robinson to the San Francisco 49ers for a 6th-round pick. Yo, Gumsmack and Mick got fleeced again by Sean Payton. Like, the New Orleans Saints traded two picks, a 4 and a 7, for a 27-year-old former 7th-round pick who caught 41 passes a year ago. At best, your number 3 receiver. You traded 2 picks, a 4 and a 7, for what is at best going to be your number 3 receiver behind Olave and Shaheed. Might be your number 4, depending on how Cooks does this year. Maybe even your 5th best pass catcher, depending on Juwan Johnson, or 6, depending on Alvin Kamara. 2 picks for a franchise that is hitting the reset button and needs to get younger and less expensive. And I wasn't blowing a gasket a day ago. I wasn't blowing a gasket because I understood what the Saints have done historically with their 4th-round picks. And then I start connecting the dots when I see this, and I go, you know what? The reason the Saints only make a 4th-round selection every other year, and the reason they've whiffed on 4th-round picks for the last 2 decades, is because of Gum Smack and Mick. You got the worst GM in the NFL. And then I got to sit here and open this up today and see Brian Robinson, who's like a legit number 1 back in the NFL. I'm not saying he's Adrian Peterson. I'm not saying he's prime Derrick Henry. But he's a legit number 1 running back. And we just saw the Commanders send a legit number 1 running back to San Francisco for a 6th-round pick. When you got, at best, your number 3 receiver for 2 picks, a 4 and a 7. The complete and total disrespect of the draft and the ability to build through the draft is what has crippled this team. The fact that you used a 2nd-round pick on Isaiah Foskey, the fact that you whiffed on Marcus Davenport and Peyton Turner, the fact that Trevor Penning now is playing his 3rd different position on the offensive line, the fact that you draft Taliesin Fuaga and after 1 year you move him to the other side of the line, the fact that Cesar Ruiz, a former 1st-round pick, sucks as a starting right guard, the fact that Brian Brzee was a 1st-round pick and is silent, this is why you suck. This is why you are what you are. You don't respect the amount of draft picks you have, and when you do make them, largely you whiff. I, after 2017, was willing to give the New Orleans Saints the benefit of the doubt because when you have a draft like that, you go, maybe they know what they're doing. But since then, it's been a turd in the punch bowl. And this is another example of Gum Smack and Mick not having a clue. Let me ask you, Saints fan, going into a season where you've got a 30-plus-year-old running back, and after him, Kendre Miller, who you used a 3rd-round pick on, who hasn't proven he could be a consistent NFL player, and you're hoping and praying that a 6th-round pick like Devin Neal or an undrafted free agent like Velus Jones or veterans like Clyde or Cam Akers could hang on and give you some value. Would you rather Brian Robinson over any of those guys? And if you answer anything other than a resounding yes, you are lying. What if I told you give up a 6th-round pick and get Brian Robinson? 26-year-old. You realize Brian Robinson, 3 years into the NFL, is 26 years old. The guy you gave up a 4 and a 7 for is a year older than him. I'm excited that the New Orleans Saints are starting their rebuild. I'm excited that we're going to see a new era that hopefully will start to move this organization forward and back toward being a championship contender. But I am not excited that Gum Smack and Mick is the guy at the forefront making these decisions, because this is another example. If we lulled ourselves into some type of belief that maybe, just maybe, a trade for Devon Vele where you give up a 4 and a 7 made sense, and a day later you see the Commanders send Brian Robinson to San Francisco for a 6th-round pick, you go, we overpaid. Yeah, you did. You paid a premium for a 1972 Pinto that runs on diesel. I didn't yell too much. I'm not even sweating.
No, you controlled yourself very well there. Right in the middle, when you first brought up Mick, I thought it was going off the rails, but you held it together really well.
Good, thanks. It's like it's a new Happy Gilmore. Here comes the putter toss. Oh, he restrained himself. The new Happy Gilmore.
Uncle Vern.
Uncle Vern and Happy Gilmore 2 was old.
Yes, Uncle Vern is old.
You know what's wild? They're like Brent Musburger's older than Vern Lundquist. Al Michaels is older than Vern Lundquist.
That's true.
It's wild that like dudes who are older than him are still more. I'm not taking a shot at Vern. Vern's awesome. I know people laughed at Vern. I mean, everybody has their day and it's done. Vern's legendary. And at the end, it was done. It was time. But good on him for having the confidence to go out there and get out there and do it.
Yeah.
Love me some Vern.
Same.
Okay, it's after further review. We'll go around the SEC next.
AFR.
Building a pool? Thinking about building a pool? Well, you should. Duplessis Builders can make it happen. Look, I know what you're saying. Well, Matt, it's August the 22nd. Start building a pool now. It's not going to be ready in time to swim until next year. So, perfect. How about this? You're going to be having people over to the house around the holidays, right? Well, you don't want to start breaking ground in December if you're going to be having people around for the holidays. So go through that process now. Have it finished. Have your whole outdoor oasis finished in time for the holidays. Duplessis Builders can make that happen. Maybe it's not. Maybe you got a pool. Maybe you want to build an outdoor kitchen. That's at our home what we did. We did in phases. We bought a home with a pool. It was older. It had to be completely remodeled. We did that. And then several years later, we built the outdoor kitchen. Maybe that's where you are. They can do it all. Turn your outdoor space into your own backyard paradise with DuplessisBuilders.net.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
At 6 p.m. Central, Darius Gray, the five-star offensive lineman out of Virginia, is set to announce his commitment. He's going to do it on the CBS Sports YouTube channel. It's down effectively to South Carolina and LSU, and by all accounts, it sounds like it's going to be South Carolina. Shea Dixon was with us on Tuesday, if you didn't hear. This was what the update Shea gave us on Tuesday on Darius Gray.
He's had offers coast to coast, Matt, but I mean, this one, it'll be LSU or South Carolina. And I think that going into the summer months, most people felt that, hey, look, if LSU can make a big splash here and close strong from there, they've got a real shot. They had him to campus, official visit, all of that. I think everything checked all the boxes. Just kind of feel like as the dust settles for an East Coast kid, that staying home, having family, grandparents, everybody like that be able to make all of his games is an enticing piece for Gray in South Carolina. And again, anything can happen here. But if you're having to pick where he's going right now, I'd be leaning South Carolina, and I kind of get the feeling that a number of others who I've spoken with around the country are as well.
Okay. So sounds like it might well be the Gamecocks this evening for Darius Gray. The interesting thing, I'm totally respectful of the wanting to stay close to home. I mean, remember, like, in the end, that was the primary reason Lamar Brown picked LSU. I had a conversation this past weekend with Bryson Martinez from East Ascension, and we were doing an NIL shoot at Duplessis Builders, a pool builder who's our great sponsor, and they've done tons of NIL deals. And they had an NIL. We did an NIL shoot with Lamar Brown, Richard Anderson, and Bryson Martinez. Another reason why you support great local businesses that support the Tigers. But and Bryson Martinez told us point blank, like, he's super close to his mom. He wants his mom to be able to watch every game he plays, and he wants to be close to her. And so when LSU offered, it was a done deal. So similarly, why would it be any different for a kid on the East Coast who's from Virginia that wants to stay close to home? I respect it. And I also look at the offensive line. If, in fact, I would hope that it goes LSU's way. It'd be amazing. But if it doesn't, I look at the offensive line. Braylon Moore can come back for another year. He's a redshirt junior, so he could come back for a fifth season next year. There's no guarantee that he will, but he could. Obviously, Tyree Adams and Weston Davis will be back, and you could return Chester, Mabenga, and Kern. So Josh Thompson is in his final year of eligibility. And yes, Braylon Moore could go, but you could go into next season with one of the deepest, most talented, most experienced offensive lines in the country, like quite literally next year, depending on how all that shapes out. So we'll see. In any effect, tonight, 6 o'clock Central, is when Darius Gray, the 5-star offensive lineman, the last uncommitted there's 2 uncommitted 5-stars from On3/Rivals. Darius Gray is one of them. He's set to announce tonight at 6 Central. And by all accounts, it sounds like it's going to be South Carolina. It's South Carolina or LSU. It sounds like it's going to be South Carolina, but we'll find out for sure tonight. Our shows every day is brought to you by Our Lady of the Lake, championship health partner of LSU Athletics. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, as they're fond of saying. Together, we roar. Love telling you about Our Lady of the Lake and the many different ways that OLOL continues to invest and reinvest in all of our communities, not just here in Baton Rouge, but all over Louisiana and Mississippi. As part of the Franciscan Missionaries of Our Lady Health System, this is a multi-state health system with standalone hospitals with all different types of expert clinical care. If it's for cancer or heart health or stroke or pediatrics, it's Our Lady of the Lake and LSU. And right now, just in this past year, Our Lady of the Lake has committed $250 million in capital expenditures investing in the future of our region's healthcare. They're renovating a major ER renovation at the Regional Medical Center. There's going to be new observation beds at the Livingston campus, a new medical office building at the St. Elizabeth campus. There's a significant rejuvenation of the adult and adolescent mental health facilities and so much more. Can't wait to tell you more as we move throughout this year and in the years to come. It's the same expert care trusted by LSU. It's ready when and where you need it. You can trust Our Lady of the Lake. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, together, we roar. Okay, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Kalen DeBose gave an update on Alabama running back Jam Miller, injured his collarbone last weekend in a scrimmage, and DeBose said that they expect Jam Miller back for the SEC opener against Georgia at the end of September. He dislocated his collarbone. I've heard of broken collarbones. I've never heard of a dislocated collarbone, which is just wild. But he'll miss the opener against Florida State. They expect Jam Miller to be back for the conference opener against Georgia at the end of September. 5'10", 221. He's the top returning rusher from a season ago.
The Auburn Tigers.
5-star safety Braylon Womack has committed to Auburn. Good get for Hugh Freeze in the squad. Committed to Auburn over Florida, Ohio State, and Texas A&M. The number 13 player in the country. The number 1 safety, according to 24/7 Sports. He's out of the state of Mississippi. 5'11", 195. He's the 13th commit for Auburn and the highest ranked of their commitments.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
And Ole Miss landed a commitment from Mississippi running back McCaleb Taylor. Taylor was set to shoot up for Northwest Community College, but instead he's headed up to Oxford here for 2025. Did not receive a rating from the recruiting services in the class of 2025, but now heading to Ole Miss. There you have it. That is Around the SEC. Our Friday shows are brought to you by Don Juan Cigar Bar in Town Center. Great spot to go enjoy a premium cocktail, a fine cigar, watch the time fade by, or, of course, you can always get on by Don Juan Cigar Bar and watch your favorite football games. You'll have the games on for Week 0 tomorrow. So get on by Don Juan Cigar Bar in Town Center. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Thrilled to have you hanging out with us here. Terrio in 15 minutes from right now. Ryan's Letter, Kick Rocks, all that good stuff. We'll get some Saints-Broncos, what to watch. The final preseason game of the regular season. Austin Thomas was reintroduced to the media on Thursday night. We'll get into what the LSU general manager had to say. So a lot to do, and glad you're here. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
If you're sick and tired of feeling sick and tired, Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness can help. But, Matt, I don't have ED. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. They do ED treatments, but that's only one of many, many things that they offer. As a matter of fact, when I was over at Goodwood last week, I was talking to Mary, and she showed me this row of folders, which is about a dozen or so new peptides that they're offering. When you think of the GLP-1 medications, right, like semaglutide, tirzepatide, the weight loss, those are peptides. I've told you about BPC 157, body protection compound 157. That's a peptide, which aids in tissue repair and recovery from injury. It's also made from gastric juice. It can help people with gut issues. It's been clinically proven to do that. NAD+, which helps cellular optimization. I've told you plenty of times about hormone replacement therapy. If you are feeling the aging process, Stop. Lowest prices. Never any contracts. YourGoodwood.com. YourGoodwood.com.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Oh, was that Toto?
The band? No.
Sounded like Africa by Toto.
Great song. Love that song.
Not really. It's a pretty terrible 80s pop song.
Gets the people going.
It does, but it's a pretty terrible 80s pop song. Actually, many moons ago, for the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge Bracket Challenge, we used to do
videos.
We did videos. Were you ever?
No, but
that predates you.
We've just talked about them plenty. I've seen them.
Yeah, they're on YouTube. There was one where Tony from Dutchtown and I
GFD.
got lost on the drive. Somehow I got stuck riding with Tony to walk-ons to go film the video. This was the scene. You know, everyone else left, and I had to ride with Tony. And we got lost on the way. And we basically recreated the Tommy Boy scene. You know, the, don't you remember you told me you love me, baby? I can change it if you want. You can change it. I can take it if you can. Talk about lame. That whole thing.
Yeah.
And so it was that, but it was to Toto, Africa. Okay. And then it cuts to us, you know, going, I bless the rain down in Africa. Anyway. And Matt and Tony never showed up. This is how it ends.
Of course. Naturally, yes. Yes. We should bring those back.
Sure. Talk to the program director.
Hey, Scone, we should bring those back.
That's a terrible idea. Shut up, Musso. You're fired. Herb Vincent was on Off the Bench this morning talking about SEC scheduling. I got a question on the show text line from Blake Ammons, Ammons.
Sure.
41 years old from Prairieville. He said, has the SEC stated how permanent the permanent opponents are? Could the three permanents be reconsidered every 5, 6, 10 years? It's a really good question, Blake. Let's let Herb Vincent take that one.
I think you make it more recent. You know, you have some recency to it to make sure that you're measuring the strength of programs in a more recent time frame. And one of the things we're not calling it is permanent opponents, because we'll take a certain time period and then relook at it. And those annual rivals could change over the course of time. But we'll look at it and we'll have a big announcement at some point, and I think people will take interest in it.
Not permanent, annual. These are just semantics, Herb. But Herb is very good at semantics. Okay, it is After Further Review. Muse is going to do Tigers in the Pros. I got to remind you about Rouse's. And how about what today? What day of the week is today?
It's Friday.
You know what that means at Rouse's?
What does it mean at Rouse's?
Full Slab Friday.
Ooh.
Get a full slab of barbecue pork ribs for $11.99 every Friday at all Rouse's locations while supplies last. They got preseason football tonight? I bet they do. No, you're not going to help me?
No,
you're good. You're great.
I am helping. I just clicked the wrong thing.
You're good. Whatever, Muse.
You do. You have 4 games tonight.
How about that?
4 games.
Go to Rouse's. Get you a full slab of ribs. Pick you up some cold beer, some ice cold Bud Lights in the LSU officially licensed bottle. Go to the Homestead and watch some preseason football. It's Rouse's, official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com, Rouse's. This feels like home. Musso, Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, Alex Bregman will start there. He was 3 for 5. Nope. He was 3 for 5, including his 24th double of the season. The other 2 were singles. He also drew a walk in the ball game a night ago. Josh Smith. There you go. Yeah. Yes, indeed. You love to see it. 1 out of 4, 2 RBI. It was a single. Solid day. Dylan Cruz. Didn't record a hit. But did score a run, did drive in a run, and also drew a walk. So productive night, even though the bagel in the hit column. How about Ethan Fry? Milestone? No, he went to Rose Pine. I think we all know that.
The pride of Rose Pine.
We heard that plenty. in 2025. Milestone night for Fry, though. 2 out of 5. His first professional home run. Solo shot in the 5th inning. A no-doubter, pull side to left. Just absolutely destroyed it. You just love to see it. 263 so far in the limited action for Fry in single A baseball. And then finally, Angel Reese. Nope. She had another double-double because, of course, she did. 21 and 10. Just solid all around. That's Tigers and Pros.
Friday shows are brought to you by Don Juan Cigar Bar. Terrio's here after the top of the hour. Ryan's letter, kick rocks, all that good stuff. Email us, tweet us, text us. Lots of ways to get involved in the show. Hour 2 is next.
AFR.
If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit because, man, for more than 100 years, First South Farm Credit has done one thing, and they've done it better than anyone else. If for more than 100 years you do one thing and you stay in business for more than 100 years doing that one thing, logically, you're pretty good at that one thing. It's First South Farm Credit. Of course, they offer the patronage refund. They actually share in their profits with their member borrowers every year, which effectively lowers your cost of borrowing. If you're in at a 5% rate, for example, by the time you get your patronage refund, it could be like, actually, you're borrowing at a 4% rate. Learn more. Make your first call to First South Farm Credit. With more than 40 branches in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, they'll help you buy land anywhere in the lower 48. It's First South Farm Credit. Online at firstsouthland.com.